Ladies and gentlemen, it is Sunday, February 18th of 2024. It is a brand new day. Oh, yes, it is. Listen, personalities change, people change, opinions change. But one thing for us that stays the exact same, no matter what obstacles gets thrown at us in life, at the end of the day, professional wrestling is always there. And for us, we kind of need a place to talk about it a little more. So we kind of put our two brain cells together, our only two brain cells together, and we ended up making this beautiful show for you guys. The Wrestling Show starts now, and thank y'all so much for tuning in and joining us on this adventure. My name is Upmind, aka Gus, and I'm joined here by none other than the saved one, aka my boy Dan. How are you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling great, man. It's been a crazy 2 weeks just trying to theory craft this podcast together, trying to get all of the specifics together, going to sleep, a little stressed.
A little sick.
A little sick. But you know what? We're here Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock. That's the time that we set. We said, screw it. We want to do a podcast. We want to do a podcast 2 o'clock Sundays. We're not straying away from that. Sundays 2, be here, the wrestling show. Let's go.
And listen, we've already had a couple of technical difficulties, as y'all can tell. Most of the platforms that we said we would be on, we are not on at the moment. We literally figured out that we couldn't do a YouTube stream. I swear to God, 15 minutes before the broadcast started. So, look, we're figuring things out as we go. It is my first podcast that I'm ever hosting. Saved, have you ever done a podcast?
No.
We are.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for a car crash. A car crash and a half. We have a lot to get through. There's a lot of wrestling that happened throughout this week and the last month, so let's just jump right into it. Our first segment of the day is none other than a little WWE talk. And listen, things are ramping up right now. It is the road to WrestleMania, Dan. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, man. So last Sunday, I was being prepared for Super Bowl Sunday. I was like, you know what? I don't have to worry about wrestling today. For the one day I don't have to worry about wrestling, I was good. I was on X or Twitter. I don't know. X sounds cringe, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Twitter's fine. I was on Twitter, and I think it was Triple H that tweeted out, today at 2 o'clock there's gonna be something new. And I was like,
indeed,
what?
Today at 2, there is something new.
I was like, I don't know what it was or what time it was at, maybe 8 o'clock or something. But he was like, watch out on Twitter. There's going to be something big. And we got a WrestleMania 40 trailer, just kind of dropped out of nowhere. It was Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes walking up to The Rock and Roman. They had this weird stare down and no one knew what it meant. And that was kind of it.
Yeah.
Then Dave Meltzer came out and said all of the answers will be answered on Friday, and nothing was answered on Friday. So I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like we're kind of setting up Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman for night 1 of WrestleMania. That's what I got from it. What did you get from it?
That's actually more or less what I got from it, but I think we're just in a position in the WWE's perspective that things are changing from week to week. Some people said that there wasn't any changes, that this is the storyline from the very beginning, that creative has had the right idea this whole time. Listen, there's a reason why there was a lot of muddied lines between when Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble and the week after when he said that match is not happening at WrestleMania, not at this WrestleMania, but it is still scheduled to happen at WrestleMania. So I think almost anything that we talk about in terms of the marketing for the WWE right now, in terms of that main event, in terms of that Cody and The Rock and Roman related match, we have no idea what's going to happen in the future. And that trailer, literally, it just left me more confused.
Yeah, and I was expecting, again, a couple of answers on Friday's SmackDown, and we got absolutely nothing there. The Rock, he pointed up the bloodline, the finger. He did this, so guns up, I guess.
Guns up, baby.
He's now a part of AEW, I guess. So, yeah, it left a lot of us confused. We were seeing some reports that were saying that's currently the plan, is that they want to do Cody and Roman wrestling twice at WrestleMania, which is incredibly weird to me. AEW tried that with MJF, with the ROH tag belts, and it was okay. Like, it
In
got
a
me to tune
storyline
in.
sense, yeah.
Yeah, it got me to tune into the pre-show, and I think that was the main goal of putting MJF on the pre-show,
Yeah.
was so that people just don't go, oh, it's the pre-show, I can skip it. But the thing that I don't personally like about, Rock, Roman, Seth, Cody main eventing night one is that it takes away a spot from someone who could main event night one. And my
Yeah.
big thing is I really wanted Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn to main event night one, because that would be such a fun heavyweight match to watch, especially since they created this belt last year and it's always felt like the consolation prize. Literally, when AJ Styles was in the finals, by the way, with Seth Rollins, if you remember that, at Night of Champions, a week before, he went on an interview and said, this is literally a consolation prize title. And I'm like, okay, great jobs, AJ, to bury the title. And this whole entire year has just been to try and build it up, try and build up this title. And then all of a sudden, The Rock comes back and says, you know what? I want that main event night one spot too.
Yeah, I could almost see some fallbacks though, in a sense, from WWE creative, with their planning here, because like, listen, they're putting a lot of stake into Rhea Ripley right now. They're pushing for Elimination Chamber. They're going to Perth. They're at least pushing a little bit of marketing for Rhea Ripley. You saw the Twitter emote, but again, I feel like the WWE, they're almost leaving like that open book for themselves to be able to decide between Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania who is going to be main eventing that first night. And very simply put, Seth Rollins, he's been in multiple injury-related storylines. And if you're telling me that Seth Rollins, if he's going to be in that four-way match or in that tag team match, I would still like to see that title being defended that week, and I simply just don't see Seth being able to defend it. So not only do you have a guy like Seth losing potentially or winning that match, it would be a huge loss for the Bloodline, a huge loss for Roman Reigns and The Rock, but Seth Rollins ultimately, in a storyline sense, should be losing his title at WrestleMania. So again, a lot of things being thrown up right now. I don't exactly know if that heavyweight championship can even still live up to that stature, because I don't even know if that championship's going to get spotlighted at WrestleMania the way that things are going.
It's from what I've heard is that it's they're planning on doing the match night one, the four-way or the tag team match, and then they want to have Seth either open the show or co-main event night two. So that was a possibility that was thrown out there, but again, it just very much feels like it's like, okay, where can we fit Seth on night two? And we're gonna have two title matches on night two, plus Rhea Ripley's title match on night two.
Yeah.
It's a lot of titles on night two. I don't know if they really want to stack up night two to be that big. I see Travesty in the chat.
Yeah.
He says that Bailey and Io should be in main event night one. I love that idea. The only thing is that this storyline, the storyline feels a little rushed. I'll be honest, because it was that slow build to Bailey being kicked out of Damage Control, but then all of a sudden the week after the Royal Rumble, boom, there's the turn, and now we got to build to WrestleMania. Io's an asshole. We have Dakota. Where the hell does she stand? Yeah. So it's feeling a little bit. It's not like the Sammy turn from last year. It doesn't feel that hype to main event night one. Will it be a good match? 100%. It's going to be awesome to see Bailey at WrestleMania, hopefully winning that title, but does it main event night one? I don't know.
Yeah, I still see it main eventing. Bailey versus Io. I don't think we're actually talking about just Bailey in general and her trajectory going into WrestleMania later on in this show. So I guess we could kind of get this out of the way now. Listen, Bailey, she is the workhorse for this women's division right now, and to put a title on her, sure, would be fine, would be great. It's just that this moment in Bailey's career needs a moment. Like it needs something to spotlight for it. She's won the Royal Rumble. She's going to WrestleMania with a massive opportunity on her shoulders. It's just that we don't really get the storyline, the storyline filler for the next month and a half. We have the premise. In it being that, yeah, Bailey, she's been kind of slighted by Damage Control almost every time she's done something. Now Dakota Kai feels kind of the same way, joining up with Bailey, but couldn't have Dakota Kai kind of hinted at going over with Bailey before making that ultimate step? I feel like that's a little bit of foresight getting missed out by creative there. They could have literally filled some time done a hint for Dakota Kai last week, and then going into this week, doing the ultimate turn and getting Dakota on the side of Bayley instead of, that little rushed feeling that you described. Yeah, I think otherwise though, the setup when we see like the pre-match video package for Io versus Bayley, I think it's all gonna work out in the end. It's just that where else is this storyline going to go for the next month and a half?
Yeah, it's very much going to be which side does Dakota choose, right? Does Bayley end up regaining that trust? Does Dakota end up regaining the trust from Bayley?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, that's obviously where it's going.
I would have wanted that last week. I would have wanted Dakota to kind of look at both sides and both sides be like, "Do we even want you?"
Yeah, that's basically where they're going. Is that Dakota like we saw on SmackDown is that Dakota wants to regain that trust of Bayley. Bayley says no, I can't really do this right now. Dakota's kind of left in this weird limbo state, which very well deserved because she knew what was going on, but very clearly you could see that Dakota was flip-flopping between the sides. It was like, I understand that they don't like Bayley, but hopefully we can try and bring this group all back together. I don't think that her intent was bad, but it obviously looks bad.
I just don't get that. Like when Bayley was going through the whole I feel hurt. I feel like this group, almost anytime I do anything, they feel as if there's something to be made fun of here. And I wanted to see Dakota Kai kind of have a grimace during that sort of moment, and give us a hint. Give us a hint that Dakota Kai is going to go over towards Bayley's side. Give me something. But again, that's that attention to detail that would have been very necessary for this feud to kind of get that glue. But at the end of the day, Bayley and Io, they're hot right now. Bayley got a huge pop at Royal Rumble. Io's been getting pops every time she has a singles match. To me, at this point, they're putting the right two people in the division right now for that title, and I think that's all that really matters. Yeah, the storyline's going to be one thing or another for the next month and a half, but overall for WrestleMania, this is kind of that front runner for me for night one main event.
You could also have them open the show.
Absolutely.
I think what a lot of people just overlook is the open to WrestleMania. Triple H was saying last year that when he took over creative that he very much feels that the open to the show is just as important as the ending. Mm-hmm. And my kind of gripe with this is that a lot of people believe, at least in the Vince McMahon era, is that towards the end of the show, that's when the most important stuff happens. At the beginning of the show, it's just the tag teams. It's like they're on the pre-show. It's any filler matches open the show. But with Triple H, he says, you know what? WrestleMania night one, we're going to have Austin Theory versus John Cena. What did they have at WrestleMania night two? It was Brock Lesnar versus Omos. These were two great matches. But I feel like if you open with, Bayley and Io, people are going to be like, what the hell already?
No, but that's, but that's great.
Which is great.
Yeah, no, WrestleMania does deserve to have both of those sides, both sides of the coin be marquee. And that would absolutely help. Again, I could absolutely see the titles, kind of bookending both nights. We could see the Intercontinental title opening up the second night. We could be seeing the Women's SmackDown Championship with Io alongside Bayley taking that over. Again, there's a lot of potential right now for WrestleMania. I think that's going to be a theme for the rest of this episode where we're expecting just a lot of big things from WrestleMania. And Bayley and Io, we were going to kind of only side note them for this episode. And we've already exploded with a 10-15 minute topic just on them.
I'm telling you, we can talk, man.
And we haven't even started on Raw.
No, we got to get into Raw. That's what I was just going to say next. Enough about WrestleMania, the 40 trailer. Let's get into Raw news.
Let's get into it. So we had Cody and Seth Rollins doing a promo. Again, we really wanted to see these two kind of at least throw up some clarification on why these two are even friends right now. And we friends, we can put an asterisk on that for now.
Yeah, we didn't really get a huge explanation, but I don't think it really needed one, right? All we needed to see is like what are Seth and Cody going to be doing going into WrestleMania? We already understand that Cody is facing Roman. I've been seeing reports that could all change as well, but I'm like, please God, don't change again, or else the Cody crybabies are going to be going crazy, aka me.
I will also be.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I want Roman to win. Anyways, we ended up getting that golden line from Seth. It's been going viral on Twitter. Seth says to Cody, "I can be your shield," and everyone's like, "Oh, I get it. I get the reference." But as a result from that, we're getting Seth and Cody on the Grayson Waller effect at the Elimination Chamber. What the heck is that going to produce? Like, we have no idea what that segment's going to be.
No idea. It could be a breakdown between Cody and Seth there, and that becomes its own thing where, God, Cody goes for the wrong title. Like, we honestly don't know. Like, at this point, like I said earlier, like I truly don't believe that WWE Creative are on like a long-term booking position. They are booking from almost show to show, from week to week.
With this storyline.
With this storyline specifically, of course, right. And that would be the twist. It would work in a sense. You know, Cody versus Seth, we've already had that rivalry happen. But, like, again, anything could happen. Roman and Rock, they're ready for a run-in. They don't have any assignment for Elimination Chamber. It should just be electric in terms of that segment. But otherwise, it's kind of still open-ended.
Yeah, it very much is. Like, we have to kind of see where Seth and Cody are going with this story. I've been seeing a lot of like, Seth's gonna turn on Cody. We're gonna see The Rock turn on Roman. I think that they're giving you hints of this for the distant future. I don't think that this is gonna happen right now. Because it's way too rushed. I don't think that Triple H. I think that the thing that we have to get used to with Triple H is that he is a long-term booker. And we've been seeing a lot of these like, oh, this is the obvious thing. This is what the old administration would do. Very easily, you could have seen Vince in the old administration. In the four-way with Roman, Randy would have won it. Randy would have faced Cody at WrestleMania. It would have been a crazy match. And it's like, yeah, of course it would have. That's a great storyline to tell. But I don't think that that's where Triple H's head is at right now. I think that he's going to wait months and months before Seth actually turns on Cody. And I think that the obvious path has to be the path that we go down here. Cody versus Roman, WrestleMania. The Rock's going to be in Roman's corner. And that's that. We're going to get Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania next year as well. Maybe we're going to see Seth versus Cody at WrestleMania next year. And that's where this whole entire plan is going. But I don't think that the turns are going to happen. Oh, it's going to happen at WrestleMania. Oh, it's going to happen at the Chamber. I don't think it's that easy.
Yeah. Again, just this one open-ended thing that I kind of want to just get cleared up. Why is The Rock here? I understand that, like, I understand that he's going into the bloodline.
Yeah.
Why is he here? Like,
because
he can help Roman. Like, it's a family thing.
Yeah, like I think that where we're going with all of this is the ultimate end goal is to turn Roman babyface. And that's what WWE has wanted to do for a long time, because they understand that, okay, we have this 4-year title reign with Roman. It's starting to get stale. Everyone is saying he's got to drop this belt. But how do we make it so that Roman having the belt isn't a bad thing? Mm-hmm. And I think that the only way that you can do that is by turning him babyface to almost where he's like an Undertaker-like streak happening. So it's like every single year that he has this belt, it's not looked at as a bad thing. Instead, it's looked at as, I don't want him to lose. I don't want him to lose this belt. So how does WWE get from where we are now to, I don't want this guy to lose the belt? And I think that the only way that you can do that is have him turn on The Rock at some point during this next year. And then it's Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania 41. And then he just retains his belt. I think that Roman keeps this belt for another 2 years.
Yeah, if we can get a polarizing side of Roman here in terms of just like being an anti-hero rather than just being a pure anti, I mean, he would be walking in the path of The Rock, basically, right, of Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and the way that he came up. Now, Yeah, no, that's the only way I really see Roman being able to come out of this, is being sort of that anti-hero, because he still has a lot of storylines to get through. How is Solo leaving the bloodline? How is Jey Uso getting back at him? How is Jimmy Uso going to stick around with Roman? And like, I don't think that's going to be resolved within this Mania cycle. That's going to be a long-term story thing, and I don't really see Roman as just like a pure babyface being able to be in those storylines, unless you're making Solo a pure heel, which I don't think he can stand on his own 2 feet and do. And with Jey Uso isn't an anti-hero. He is a pure babyface. Even when he was heel on the Usos, most people treated the Usos as just like a crowd favorite type group. And it's going to be the same thing now with Jey, where a lot of people just want main event Jey. This is like, I thought the new Daniel Bryan, like the Yes Movement thing, would be over towards Jey and Yeet, and you know, I felt it a little bit with Jey Uso, and I don't think that's gonna stop anytime soon. But not having Roman going completely over towards the babyface side, to me, would be very comfortable, and I need to see Roman as like this stand on his own polarizing figure.
I think that's where they're going to end up going with all of this. I wanted to ask the question here as well. How do you feel about WWE not giving an explanation to Cody's line when he says "not at WrestleMania"? They never gave an explanation to that, and that kind of didn't really sit well with me.
Yeah, no, I again, it's what I said earlier. I simply just don't feel as if WWE are planning this in a long-term perspective. They were looking at it from more like week to week, or at least like changing their ideas week to week, rather than, of course, they may have had the right long-term idea, but they are changing some opinions here and there. They're changing some elements, and that's a tough one. That's a tough one, because clearly Cody now wants the match back. We saw the press conference. We're not in a position where like Cody is, you know, that those words that he said, that is a completely different Cody to the Cody we saw. Like, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? Like that's a come on, right? Like, that's turning the page on what Cody had said the week before, I think.
Yeah, it was such a weird line, and I think after I watched that press conference, I was like, well, this was obviously a work after all. And then I was like, wait a minute. He did say some things that weren't, you know, it just doesn't line up with his character.
Yep.
And finally it was so weird. On Instagram, he comes out and says, "I've made my decision." I'm like, buddy, you made your decision 2 days ago. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yep.
You know? So I don't know.
That's literally the headline for that show was, you know, up next, Cody makes his decision.
Yeah.
Like,
next
what are we
week.
doing? What are we doing?
Next week.
Yeah, but no, we do know what they're doing.
Right.
Like,
they had
simply
to
things are changing. Yes.
From what I've heard, the storyline actually over the weekend pivoted 3 or 4 times, which is insane to think about. It was like you sure, like the initial plan was to have Seth versus Cody, Rock, Roman, and then it pivoted. I don't know to whether it was, you know, them two standing beside the Rock and Cody standing beside each other. But according to I follow this guy's name is Boozer. And he's somehow affiliated with the creative team. He said, it pivoted like 3 or 4 times over the course of the whole weekend. Eventually Triple H and The Rock came together. They sat down together, along with, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's the creative director for The Rock, which is crazy to think about, that The Rock has his own creative director. But they all sat.
I gotta say something real quick. Somebody has to put in the contract the fact that The Rock can never lose a fight. Somebody has to do that.
It's weird.
That makes sense.
So they all got together and they just said, okay, how the hell do we want to write this story? And it was, let's have, you know, The Rock turn heel. And it also looks like he's having fun with turning heel. Like, someone posted on Twitter a video of him like after the segment on Friday, and
smiling.
He was smiling and he was happy, and he, you know, he had the goosebumps still. It's not that he's like pissed off to be there. It's like, you know what, the fans, they want this. At the end of the day, The Rock is a people person. So let's just go with what the fans want. The fans want Cody versus Roman at WrestleMania. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a good one. We don't know where it's going, but for now, from all I've seen, everyone is bought all the way into this storyline from a worker's perspective. I honestly, we're gonna have opinions from week to week on how the storyline is gonna go, and how it could be the most optimal thing for us. But at the end of the day, guys, this is goddamn professional wrestling. We are being sports entertained here, right? And I think by the end of Mania, we are going to be thoroughly sports entertained. Yeah. Write that down.
Exactly. And then, now let's jump into some SmackDown news. We touched on Raw.
Whoa. All right.
Crazily. We've touched on Raw. Let's go over to SmackDown.
Let's do it.
Logan Paul's in the Elimination Chamber. He ended up qualifying for the Chamber. He doesn't have a shot of winning, right?
No. No. Simple as that. If he wins the Elimination Chamber, he would go into Mania for a title shot. I simply do not think that's happening. Again, this storyline with Seth Rollins, again, I do understand that the guy is supposed to be at WrestleMania fighting for his title, but why is he involved still in this Rock Roman storyline? Is he going to have to wrestle twice in one weekend? If that's the case, I could honestly see a slime ball like Logan Paul coming in and stealing away this match. Absolutely. Like, come on. An injured Seth Rollins, a Logan Paul who is now starting to finally develop his own, like, heelish, assholey persona. Like, now would be the right time for Logan Paul to get the title. I don't think that if the titles stay the same, I don't think Logan Paul is going to get a chance within the next year to be able to get that title. And especially the U.S. Championship, who's taking that off of Logan?
Right. So that's kind of my big question going into this is I love if you kind of like watch WWE in terms of Triple H's creative patterns, he played last year very, very safe. In the Royal Rumble, he created like 3 or 4 stories going into WrestleMania. This year, he created like maybe 2. And he's using the Chamber to really advance a lot of those storylines. So you can see Logan Paul's in the Chamber, LA Knight's in the Chamber, KO's in the Chamber. Do they want to have a US title ladder match at WrestleMania? I know a lot of people were pitching the tag titles, but I've been seeing a different path for the tag titles in terms of R-Truth and The Miz actually winning it at WrestleMania. But in terms of Logan Paul, do we want a U.S. title ladder match? We can put Randy in there. You can put LA Knight. You could put KO. You can even have LA Knight almost recreate his Money in the Bank shot.
Oh my gosh.
Where KO climbs up the ladder and just goes, no, and chokes him. And everyone goes, no, we've seen this before. But then LA Knight... LA Knight prevails in this case. He says, you know what? I learned from my mistake and ends up actually getting the title instead. So there's a lot of options, but I do believe that the Chamber is going to be setting up this U.S. title match.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Logan Paul, again, we have no idea where he's going. Individually speaking, he doesn't have any storylines right now, or doesn't have too many like legitimate storylines happening. So exactly that. Logan Paul needs something extravagant to do at WrestleMania. And again, it could be the double title match going against Seth Rollins. That would be entertaining. But we haven't had a good ladder match at WrestleMania in a good bit. Yes. It would be super nice to see it. We could easily see another 4-way. It just seems like, though, the theme right now for that second division belt or for that mid-card belt is having as many people involved as possible, and that would be it. It would be kind of having that return to form ladder match the way that Zack Ryder ended up getting his sort of opportunity with the Intercontinental title. Potentially, we could see an upset win for the U.S. Again, I could easily see one of our chippier guys like Sami Zayn with the mid-card belt. To me, is fine, but that would drag him down a little bit more. I feel as if someone like Kevin Owens would really benefit from it. Still, Bobby Lashley would benefit from it. Basically, everyone in this match has a chance to go for that heavyweight championship. But honestly, if all 6 of these guys went into a ladder match, I'm still very much excited for it.
Yeah, I think Drew ends up winning the Chamber at the end of the day.
Yep.
And Sammy's not in the Chamber, but I think that his redemption story, we're talking about him later, but his redemption story is coming.
I wanted him to be involved in the heavyweight championship scene, period. I thought he would just get shoved into a match potentially in a 3-way and a 4-way, but
I think that his big story going into Mania is like his big redemption story, right? Like Sami Zayn, he main evented the Elimination Chamber, and now he's not even on the card for the Elimination Chamber. That's crazy.
1 year later, yeah.
So you could pair him versus Gunther, but I don't know. Like, I think that Sammy ends up winning the Money in the Bank. I think that's kind of a clear shot for Sammy. But yeah, in terms of WrestleMania, I think that you're gonna see depressed Sammy for at least a couple months now.
Yeah, no, and especially with this last match that we ended up having on Raw with him versus Shinsuke, him still not coming up on top. I mean,
Right.
Shinsuke Nakamura is, he desperately needed a win too. Don't get me wrong. He's had a couple of pretty big losses, but like, they're still losses, you know,
Yeah.
no matter if they're big or not. But yeah, this was an opportunity for really both of these guys to get ready for a road to WrestleMania. And yeah, Sammy to me just doesn't have anything going for him. I would love to see something creative from the WWE within the next month and a half. See if he can line up like a one-on-one, you know, a one-on-one opportunity, just a grudge match. But very truthfully speaking, having a loser Sammy and having to change his ways again, having another, you know, career redevelopment. Almost every time we've seen Sami Zayn change up his character, he has done something significant. Like he went from just normal, you know, high kicking Sami Zayn to turning into a conspiracy theorist, and then from conspiracy theorist to joining the Bloodline. Like come on, right? So El Generico, never mind that at the beginning. So if there's anyone that I can trust with a little storyline twist, with a career twist, it's gonna have to be Sami Zayn. I'm excited for, you know, hopefully something within the next month and a half.
Yeah, I think it's so funny to see Sammy like I saw in the match with Shinsuke. He did his like old Sammy gimmick where you start on the outside and then you kind of run through the ropes. You like jump through it and you attack your opponent through the corner of of the ropes or something.
Yeah.
You know, he did his old Sammy gimmick there.
Yep.
Before he used to, you know, fully dive through that and he was kind of fine. This past week he dove through and he was like, that hurts. Like if you don't do that in a while, that move hurts. So
yeah. I wonder how Will Ospreay feels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved seeing just like the old callback to let me try my old move. I shouldn't do that anymore.
Yeah. No, that's humanizing Sammy even more, and
yeah,
that's what we need. I mean, we've seen over on AEW, you know, the depressed, socially awkward, you know, cowboy. What about the confused, socially awkward conspiracy theorist? Good luck, Sami Zayn. I'm thoroughly looking forward to it.
Yeah, so let's move on to Tiffany Stratton now, because we took huge, or at least I took huge note of her over these past couple of weeks.
Yep.
She's been getting this monumental push. You kind of understand that when someone enters NXT, they're not a normal superstar. They're not someone that needs a little bit of time to just develop and develop. Tiffany Stratton has been that woman that the women's division needs. And I think that WWE are noticing we have to push her.
Yep.
So she's going to be in the chamber. She's won her first 2 matches on SmackDown, one versus Michin. The second one,
Zelina.
Zelina. And
I think that
both
one
matches
might have been on Raw, but anyways.
Both matches were good.
Yeah, no, very much so. There was a little moment with Tiffany Stratton just with the prettiest moonsault, but that I can kind of get over. Yeah. You know, there's of course the IWC will be the IWC. They will get onto people for relatively small mistakes, but there, you know, the obvious mistakes, of course. Sammy Guevara on Jeff Hardy this week. That was a whole topic where everyone was only on, you know, Sammy Guevara for that moment. What about Tiffany Stratton again at the end of that match? I don't think Zelina had anything to do with mispositioning herself off the prettiest moonsault, and she ended up getting 2 knees to the gut. So it didn't look pretty. It looked like it legitimately hurt Zelina. But again, we're still in a place with Tiffany Stratton where almost everything else about her character has been on point, has been kind of an archetype that WWE has been looking for, or at least like an archetype that isn't currently on the main roster. You know, someone again, super pretty, super just like believes in themselves no matter what they say, no matter what they do. I need someone like that. I need someone like a Charlotte Flair again. Tiffany Stratton is going to fill that gap. But there was that little doubt this week. There was that little slip. But again, like you said, dude, Tiffany Stratton is just going straight to the moon right now.
Yeah, I think that she is this year's Miss Money in the Bank. Because you could do so much with that character. Like she's so sassy. and just naturally.
Yeah.
And I think that her holding the briefcase for, I think way past SummerSlam, I think that the women's division needs just a solid Miss Money in the Bank to hold it for at least
Yeah.
more than a couple of months. The fact that Io is the longest reigning Miss Money in the Bank, and it was only until SummerSlam, redesigned the briefcase to more of a
Wait,
Barbie
what?
look. Yeah.
Wait,
Yeah.
how long was Carmella's run?
I
thought Carmella
not
had
as
like
long.
a
Not as
longish
long.
run. Yeah, right.
Not as long as Io, I think.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Well,
But redesign the briefcase to more of a Barbie look. Give it to Tiffany. Have her even cash in at the like. Just give her something unique
right.
to get that character over. Some
Yeah.
matches, maybe some false cash-ins. Just something. Just give her something with that brief. I just think that whoever wins the briefcase this year is not just a later on that night. Oh my god, yeah, that's so trash. It's so trash.
Yeah. No, Tiffany's gonna do a very good job at being slimy with that case.
Yes.
You know, we
Yes.
might see a cash in within the same night. We should be seeing a cash in, you know, at least like if we're not seeing that same night, we're gonna see it within like 2-3 months of that. But Tiff is gonna like we're gonna see something like intriguing with Tiffany Stratton from that sort of run. But overall, for the next year, we're going to see a lot of character development, a lot of branding development for Tiffany Stratton, because in terms of the presentation for her right now, WWE has it perfect right now, and people can easily attach themselves to again like a Barbie-esque character in terms of
Yes.
Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah, she's already got it. I think that they're trying to stray away from it a little bit.
Yeah.
In terms of her intro. Like in
Yeah.
NXT, it was very much the Barbie font. It was the pictures.
I mean, I tell the movie had just came out too.
Exactly.
So.
But you saw on SmackDown, just the presentation of her was so like godlike. I'm just like, man,
Yeah.
the women's division needs more, and I think that they're doing a great thing by adding her to it. But moving on to another acquisition on SmackDown,
Oh, boy.
Braun frickin' Breaker is now a SmackDown. I got so excited. But what the hell happens to Baron Corbin? Like, they just won the tag belts, and then Shawn Michaels comes out and says, oh, but there's still more for him to do on NXT. Like, why? Win the tag belts with Corbin? Get this man off of NXT. Get him onto SmackDown. He's done, man. Like, he's been in filler feuds for the past, like, year now. Ever since he lost that belt to Carmelo, he's been in filler feuds. Get him off of NXT. Get him onto the main roster. Let's come on. He's a Paul Heyman guy to the T.
Listen, man, we have a new tag team in the main roster. Simple as that. Baron Corbin alongside Braun Breaker.
So
we've been looking for something for Baron Corbin, right? Or at least some flavor to his characters. Again, Happy Corbin was great. Anything that involved Baron Corbin's financial status, fine. But again, now finally we get a little bit of a push for Baron's character. He has a lot more play to give in terms of his promos. He doesn't need to be stoic and a lone wolf all the time, or he doesn't need to stick to one archetype. He's basically just Baron Corbin now. He's just a normal human now. So him on the main roster, it's a completely different flavor for what we've seen before. Baron Corbin, Braun Breaker. Again, I would love to see Braun Breaker have his singles run, establish himself, get himself a little bit of that energy. But in all honesty, a lot of people still have that novelty from this tag team from NXT, and not a lot of people have seen that enough in the main roster, and that could easily transition Baron Corbin versus Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker can get himself his first main roster opportunity after that.
That I think that's a little bit of a problem I have though with the with that pairing, is that there are so many pairings right now on the main roster where we're basically just waiting as an audience to say, when do they turn on each other? Right now we have Austin Theory, Grayson Waller. There's been very small hints of Grayson Waller turning on Austin Theory, like how in the Royal Rumble pre-show there was like Grayson said like he like slipped up and said like, I can't wait for Austin Theory to lose, when he was standing beside Austin Theory, and then Austin was like, what did you say? He's like, no, I didn't mean that. So I think we're kind of waiting for that turn to happen. If you present Baron Corbin with Braun Breaker, we're waiting for that to fall apart. We're also looking at Tommaso Ciampa and DIY, Johnny Gargano. We're waiting for that to fall apart. Yes.
Tyler
They're gonna
Bate
win.
and Pete Dunne, same thing.
Yeah, I don't.
And I
I'm
actually
not.
think Tyler Bate is the one that's gonna break up that group. By the way, I
So
think he's being fake as hell right now.
yeah, like right now we have all of these pairings that are like, okay,
True.
are they gonna break up?
Yep.
Do we introduce another story? Like, it's gonna be so weird to see Braun go to NXT as the tag team champion, and then he's on SmackDown in another story, and then he goes back to being a tag team champion. It's gonna be very weird. It's
Yeah.
almost like what happened to Carmelo when he was on SmackDown before the Royal Rumble, but then he had this whole thing with Trick going on, and he was gonna turn on Trick, but on SmackDown TV he was being portrayed as a good guy. It was this very weird contrast.
Yeah, no, I do kind of see it. It's just that Baron Corbin to me needs an out from this storyline, and
Yes.
I think the main roster or the audience that only watches the main roster should get a taste of what this tag team has been doing for the last few months, because it's just been pure entertainment. It's a different side of Baron Corbin that, again, a lot of very stoic, main roster viewers, they're not exactly high on Baron Corbin right now. His last stint wasn't, very visually appealing, that's for sure. It's just where Baron Corbin is going right now. It's a big open book. But it would be at least like a natural ending for this last little arc, for his last character of his, for him to get through Braun Breaker. However, that would mean that that one of these guys would need to turn. That either Braun Breaker is going heel and that Baron Corbin is going heel again. And to be honest, I would want to see Baron Corbin in this current version of his character on the main roster. So I don't know what that happy medium is. Either it's Baron Corbin completing his run on NXT and doing one more singles match, or one more single storyline. I truly don't believe that. I think Baron Corbin, out of anyone right now on this roster, he has a lot to do, but zero direction.
Yeah, I still don't know how I feel about Baron Corbin, honestly. Like, the only thing I really understand about him is that he was kind of, in the old administration, he was playing the role as Randy Orton in the Roman Reigns feud. That's really it. And then you kind of see him nowadays, and they tried the gimmick with JBL. It sucked. It was so bad. Then he went back to Lone Wolf Baron Corbin, and he was fun, right? He's a lot of fun. A lot of the NXT universe loves him, but we'll see where they go with that. Talking about the end of SmackDown.
Oh, God.
The end of SmackDown. The Rock's promo. Guns up.
The gun says...
A lot of people were saying The Rock's promo sucked. What do you think of that?
No, I simply don't agree with it. I think you could say like sucked in terms of like it was another Rock promo, but it's a goddamn Rock promo.
Yes.
Listen, we're gonna say this a lot on this show. I felt sports entertained. Okay.
Yeah.
Simple as that. I felt as if, anything that came out of The Rock's mouth at that point was polarizing. Made everyone in the audience feel one way or another in an extreme direction. And when you're doing that in wrestling, you're truly, truly getting the audience's attention. And The Rock did exactly that. He did his job. He showed up. He said all of the isms that we were looking to see for the last 2 decades from this guy. He legit pulled up in the exact same form. Not the exact same outfit, but the same form that we saw this guy when he approached Hulk Hogan for the second time. Not the first time, but the second time when they ended up facing each other over in, I think it was Mania 19, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. No complaints from me. Again, it is The Rock. I would love to see some more creativity when he's actually going one-on-one against the guy. But when it's just The Rock on the mic, nobody's interrupting him. We got the 5 moves of doom, but the 5 lines of doom from The Rock, basically.
If you could, but I think that a lot of people are very impatient, and I know that a lot of people like kind of brush that off, like, it's just like an old person line. It's like the younger generation is just impatient. But I think that this is definitely a case of where people were like, we wanted more, and it's
we
like,
wanted Cody now.
No, the main goal of this promo was for The Rock to say that he's aligning himself with the Bloodline. That's it. That's all you needed from that promo. The Rock is now a member of the Bloodline. That's it. We didn't need anything else. We didn't need to announce any matches. It was just like, hey, now me and my cousin are coming together. I'm a member of the Bloodline. That's it.
Yep. And that's, again, we wanted that in terms of we wanted a conclusion between The Rock and Roman storyline for now, so we can just get on to this Roman versus Cody or Roman and Rock versus Cody storyline, just so we could get this next step. And truly, in one promo, we got exactly that. We got a new direction for The Rock. We got a new direction for the Bloodline. We have a new direction for the feud between Roman and Cody, potentially the three-way, potentially the four-way. And again, I'm overall satisfied. That was a great episode of SmackDown, and not a lot of people agreed, actually.
I know. I saw people saying this episode sucked. It was boring. I'm like, what? What are you guys watching? We saw 2 amazing Elimination Chamber qualifying matches. Yeah, we got to see Tiffany. I don't remember the men's side, but we got to see those matches. We got to see The Rock. We got to see a lot of backstage stuff. What do you guys want from a SmackDown? You guys, what, we want a 5-star classic? We want a 5-star classic for the first 30 minutes of SmackDown? You're not going to get that, dude.
Yeah, if you want that, go tune over to TBS or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm such a simple viewer. You know, if you don't like a match, just skip it. I don't know. That's my mentality when watching SmackDown. Yeah. I see a match and I'm like, you know what? This match is going on for a little bit too long. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe some people like that. You can
change the channel.
Change the channel, dude, and then come back 15 minutes later when something actually interesting is on your TV.
Yeah. But people could say the exact same thing when we start complaining about things, though. So you watch yourself. Watch yourself, Dan.
Whatever. So at the end of the promo, there was what you said just clicked. At the end of SmackDown, there was, during that Rock promo, we got to see The Rock say, I will do everything in my power to make sure you lose at WrestleMania. And he pointed to Roman. Is this just kind of like foreshadowing past WrestleMania? Is this actually referring to WrestleMania? I don't know.
Could go both ways. It seemed at least like kind of intentional, but I'm not gonna put too much credence towards it. I like it though. Add the layers to the storyline. Add the fact that we could absolutely see Rock versus Roman at some point in the future. Again, this may be the bloodline, but this isn't Roman's bloodline. This is, in terms of seniority here, it's The Rock's and it's the people's above him. And the head of the table, is there a true head of the table? I don't think Rock likes that idea. So, yeah, no, we should be seeing those two clashing. But I don't think it will be happening in the near future. If we are going to see a swerve from Rock, the last place I want to see it is WrestleMania. I want to see it before WrestleMania. I want to see it after WrestleMania. But if it somehow breaks into the match and gives Cody that win, his story is not finished. I'm sorry to say. Like, the story is still very much going for me. You know, Cody didn't get his clean win. And still, we need to see kind of, you know, how Roman is going to react to things. The story is far from over. We would truly be in like the 5th inning there, if anything.
Yeah, no, I've been saying for a couple of weeks now is that if you have a plan like The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania, and you're allowed to be doing that match and kind of substitute Cody in that sense, you want Roman to retain. And so now if they're changing plans, does Cody end up winning? No, I don't think so, because that's just a complete deviation from the original plan. Like, you were going to initially have Cody versus Roman, and then we don't know how that was going to result. But then you replace Cody with The Rock, but The Rock can't win the belt. That's weird. Right. So Roman was going to go over. So now do you then say, no, Cody's winning? But then that changes the months of build now.
Years at this point.
Yeah, essentially. I think Roman retains at WrestleMania. Yeah. And I know that people are going to be pissed off about that. But I thought the exact same thing at last WrestleMania. You know, I literally went to WrestleMania 39. I was going to go anyways, but I was like, the main reason why I'm so interested in going is to see Cody win. And Cody didn't win. And so it's like, oh, there's going to be crazy backlash, but there really wasn't. Like, there was some backlash, but it's like, normal. maybe next year.
Yep.
But I feel like at this point, we're going to get to the point where, yeah, Cody's going to lose. He's going to have to go after Seth's title at some point. But then it's going to be Roman versus Rock next year. Yeah. Roman's going to go over again. and we're gonna get 2 more years of this.
Yeah. It is just going to be a little awkward seeing 2 extremely long title reigns happening at the same time in this company. We are going to have Gunther winning at WrestleMania. There's no doubt. There is zero threat.
I doubt.
There's no threat against his title, and I don't see a threat being made within a month and a half. Of course, a threat, but not the threat. I don't think Chad Gable's going to be the guy to actually overthrow or even be a champion in this company right now. Yeah. I mean, if anything, I could have absolutely seen Chad Gable win the Intercontinental and Gunther start his title reign against like the shoosh, Chad Gable. That would have been at least like a little bit more appropriate here, but I don't think Chad's sniffing that title, or I don't think anyone else is. Otherwise, though, we are, in kind of the driver's seat here to having what is kind of the same storyline for the next year or two now.
Yeah, basically. I think there could be something happening at Bash in Berlin, but I do think that Gunther ends up losing this title at some point during this year. I think that in his home could very well be that. He could transfer that belt over to Ilya. That would be a massive, massive match. Five stars for sure.
Yep.
If you want to put that on, but I think that Gunther's title reign is getting a little stale. For me, it's getting a little bit like, it's another Gunther match.
You can't name a thing though. The thing with Gunther's reign is that it's sort of like an AEW-esque run where it's
true.
It's not too much storylining, but the matches themselves, I mean, they're giving us the content and the storyline and the character development that we want. It's ultimately just building up that aura for Gunther here.
Yeah, I just there was this one promo. I don't know if they kind of forgot about it, WWE, but there was one promo where Gunther cut a couple months ago where he said, "I'm above the IC title now." And so ever since then, I've kind of been thinking like, so why does he still have it? If he feels like he's just at that next level, just have him, not even lose it, but maybe even say like, I'm giving this up because I want to go for something bigger.
That would be awesome. That would be a little different. I mean, it's a little weird to think though, the lineage of that Intercontinental title, of course, we're saying that the heavyweight championship is a secondary title. Imagine how, the Intercontinental has always felt. It's always been the mid-card belt. But there's always been, there's always been once every 2-3 years somebody who tries to bring legitimacy to that title. And Gunther's run absolutely has like been able to kind of support it. But yeah, like you said, his words are something completely different. Right. So yeah, no, I could absolutely be seeing the company kind of like contemplating throwing up some moves on how to get rid of that belt. But yeah, for right now, we are just going to see, these long title reigns just keep going. I just don't see threats for those belts yet. Cody Rhodes is the only person that could take away Roman Reigns right now, and there's storyline reasons as to why Cody Rhodes won't win that match. To me, there is no storyline reason. There is no lore reason as to why Gunther should be losing a match right now. The guy is legitimately a Goliath.
Yeah, he could easily come on the Raw after Mania and say, you know what, I'm above this belt, and just vacate it.
Yep.
And this, to the dumb
It would be crazy. It would be wild. He would need a heavyweight championship match immediately, but
to the dumb idiots in the IWC saying that this would be on the same level as Samoa Joe getting rid of the TV championship, you guys are idiots.
It's higher.
It's so much bigger than what that was. Absolutely. Samoa Joe was being wasted on ROH TV, and he's like, I'm done with that. I'm done being wasted. I'm going to go after the AEW championship. And he did. But this is a case where Gunther has beaten everybody in the mid card, and he just needs something more.
Yeah. But we have finally wrapped up our week. We could kind of just like kind of put a bow on things and at least discuss one topic that we haven't brought up this week so far. Where's Damian Priest? What's going on with Senor Money in the Bank, or at least what is lack thereof his Money in the Bank, because we just haven't we haven't seen anything like really that good from this run yet. Of course, his stature has been helped by the fact that he has the Money in the Bank, but every time he has actually used the Money in the Bank, we've been generally disappointed.
Yeah, like we've been saying, the IWC has been saying for a long time that the initial plan, at least in terms of us, was to have LA Knight win the Money in the Bank. Fine. Okay. That's
Sure.
great. LA Knight was the clear favorite in that match. Then Triple H did his 180 swerve.
Yep.
I love when Triple H does that. I love when he swerves because it adds some sort of like unexpected result.
We
at the
love
end
a
of the
good
day.
swerve, bro. It makes
Love
us
a
feel
good
a certain.
swerve.
Like I said earlier, I think that this is actually a quote from Eric Bischoff. It's listen, as long as you make the crowd feel one way or the
Right.
other, you're doing your job.
Right. So yeah, Damian Priest, he got the Money in the Bank, and I think that everyone was thinking, what does he do with this belt? Well, or what does he do with this title? Jesus, what does he do with this briefcase? That it has to be some sort of like a progression of character, and it was at least from what I saw, it was going to be Finn Balor somehow costing Damian Priest that cash in, and then it would have been Finn versus Damian at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not how the storyline is now progressing. What's weird is that, yeah, Damian Priest is the Mr. Money in the Bank, but he's more so known as the tag team title holder.
Yeah.
So, like, the briefcase is kind of like second place. Like, he's a member of the Judgment Day. That's number one. Then he's a tag team title holder. That's number two. But he's also Mr. Money in the Bank. So when are we going to be, incorporating him into the main card scene? He's in the tag team title scene.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of proving ground matches for Damian Priest, to say the least. We haven't had significant singles wins for him. It's kind of at a point where when Damian Priest actually does do this cash in, are people even going to be happy for it? Are people even going to be satisfied with the fact that Damian Priest
He's going to fail it.
Is in a position for the title? And he could absolutely fail it. He could falter it. It would be monumental because it would be the longest holding Money in the Bank holder, or excuse me, the longest failing Money in the Bank holder. So, again, would be nice to see. It would kind of put a twist, to put a wrench into the cogs of what is now Judgment Day's kind of power scaling here. Like, they're really strong right now in terms of this company, and they're not really getting knocked down a peg too much. But I truly see this group staying together for a long time. I still see them staying together for another year. I don't see Finn Balor going out of his way for a twist. I see more people instead joining the Judgment Day instead. We do need a second female for that group. It would be nice to see if Rhea is done with that title off of Mania or off of the next two big pay-per-view cycles. But at the end of the day here, we still have a Damian Priest who we haven't had, enough matches for us to really be like, this guy is a main card threat. And we're heading into WrestleMania. And when we were heading into WrestleMania, when Seth Rollins had his Money in the Bank, it was still in the back of our minds. It was still something legitimate. He still had a big match early on in that night against someone like a Randy Orton. Where's Damian Priest's big feud to kind of hang his hat on during this long Money in the Bank hold? And again, is it even going to be satisfactory when he gets that title, if he gets that title? And I think you're right, Dan. I honestly think this guy's just not going to cash in, or I think he's just simply going to fail cashing in this title.
Yeah, like I could have seen if they were going to do Punk versus Seth at WrestleMania for night one, maybe he could have cashed in during that match. But no, I think that the storyline coming out of that was going to be the summer of Punk V2. But Damian Priest, it very much feels like a secondary, just a secondary thing that's on him. We could see at the end of WrestleMania night one, if that World Heavyweight Championship is closing the show, we could see him cash in and actually succeed, and then we have the whole Judgment Day at the end of WrestleMania. That'd be a badass ending to WrestleMania night one. But I don't know. As it feels right now, I feel like he's gonna fail to cash in.
Yeah, for now. But as you guys might have seen right below me, I'm getting ready to kind of shift some topics over here because, we've got through most of WWE stuff. I don't know if there's anything remarkably too big to kind of get through. But ladies and gentlemen, if y'all do have a couple of other topics in mind, if y'all have any questions whatsoever for us, please, please, please feel free to hit us up either on our new The Wrestling Show Gmail. It should be over in the description, or it should just be at TheWrestlingShow@gmail.com. But yeah, we are going to have some question segments going on in the future. But for now, I do want to give at least a little bit of a shout out, right? Because we do want to incorporate some sponsors in the future. Guys, we want to pay some bills. We want to pay some rent.
True.
It's simple as that. So let's talk at least about one of our sponsors here, one supporter of mine, and is none other than G Fuel. I have a personal sponsorship with them. The show is not affiliated with G Fuel, but however, I would like some bread. So help me out real quick. Code UPMIND on gfuel.com. Again, whatever helps me out will help out the show. Me and Dan, we've already discussed a couple dealings here and there when it comes to the good old G Fuel and the external stuff. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, we're just trying to feed some mouths here, and we're just trying to keep things afloat here over at the Wrestling Show. So again, if y'all can help us out, gfuel.com, use code UPMIND. We'll have actual sponsors for the show hopefully in the future. For example, I do have this. Yeah, see that? Yeah, your ad could be right there. It could be right there. You never know. It could be your company.
Ad here.
Yeah, just hit us up though. TheWrestlingShow@gmail.com. But let's move on with our show. We have none other than AEW talk. AEW this week is on the road to Revolution.
Oh.
And we are seeing a couple of different edges here, in a sense, for AEW, no pun intended. We are seeing an AEW that has a whole lot of interlocking storylines.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. We got to see the Open 2 Dynamite. We got to see Jon Moxley versus Dax Harwood. What a great match that was. And it, of course, advanced a little bit of storyline. What I was really excited to see is that Tony Khan isn't pushing this feud all the way to the pay-per-view. He's saying, you know what? You're getting it next week on Dynamite. So we're going to be seeing the Blackpool Combat Club versus FTR on Dynamite. Thank God. I don't want to see Revolution have 14 matches.
But listen, hey, Revolution, it was already kind of lining up to be a little bit of a banger. And for the first time in a decent long time here for AEW, we don't have a match card filled with mainly dream matches and a couple of storyline matches here and there. We actually have multiple storylines to choose from here.
Oh, yeah.
And this one would have been a marquee one, to say the very least. This one could have opened up Revolution.
I think so, for sure. There's a lot of matches now that can really open up the show.
Yeah, they got
and one of those matches that also became official was Will Ospreay versus Konosuke Takeshita. Holy moly. I'm excited. I'm excited for this match. You don't like this match. I'm going to call you out right here. You don't like that Don Callis is keeping it in the family. What's going on here, Mr. Gus?
Okay, I don't like that statement, period. But however, I feel uncomfortable. But I'll say this, simply put, Takeshita, Will Ospreay, two of the best wrestlers in the world right now. Simple as that. I'm very happy to be seeing these two in a match. It is the old AEW formula, and having a dream match in a pay-per-view. And this time I can't complain too much, because we would have multiple matches like this filling genuine storyline time, or at least if creative would have had a little bit more foresight, we would have had a conclusion to a storyline, a continuation for a storyline for the 30 minutes to the 45 minutes that we would have put a dream match in there instead, or that had a dream match with no stakes that won't continue a storyline. Instead, now with AEW, we are seeing this one match being the exception, where we have our interlocking storylines with the BCC, with FTR, with Samoa Joe, with Swerve Strickland, with Ada, with DG. We have so much going on right now. It's just that this match feels completely different from everything else, even though it's a very stereotypical AEW match. We're getting a dream match with no build, and that may have no stakes. To me, though, if Will Ospreay and Konosuke Takeshita stay within the family after this feud is over, waste of time. It is a dream match. It's a match that we desperately do want to see between these two wrestlers. But you can't tell me that we would have had this match otherwise. We would have had this match if the family breaks apart. If the family starts to break apart, shows its rifts. Will Ospreay, Konosuke Takeshita, they would have been the two sides of the family colliding together. But instead, we're filling 30 to 45 minutes on a pay-per-view that would have been, heavily appreciated by potentially the BCC and FTR here for a match or for a storyline. But at the end of the day, this is our one exception instead of it being a card full of dream matches.
Yeah, I think that this match, if it builds tension, I think that it's a success.
Sure.
Like I don't want to see a full turn, but I think that if at the end of the match, let's just say that Takeshita walks out of the ring without shaking Will Ospreay's hand, for example, that it's gonna build the tension in the family, and I think that that's what this storyline is leading to.
Instead of having an ultimate conclusion, instead of it being like a significant
full turn
step, it would be just just a hint, which hey, I can appreciate that. I really can. That's that long-term storyline that we've been wanting from both companies. But again, at the end of the day, it is just, it feels like, of course, just the way that it was presented, another dream match for the sake of it being a dream match. Thank God both of them are in the same family and it works out in a storyline way. But out of all the matches going into Revolution, this one felt a little different.
For sure. It was definitely out of nowhere, but weirdly, I felt really excited about this match.
Yeah.
Like when they the way that they announced it on TV, I'm like, that's different. We haven't really seen that before. Two people in the same faction. It really shows you that Don Callis is actually just this weird mastermind character. And he's like, I have the power to put my family against each other. And if he has that power, maybe more people join the Don Callis family.
Oh yeah, God knows what he can do in the future. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I get it. The intrigue is there. Okay. I'm still being sports entertained at the end of the day. But still,
that's all you can ask for.
Like I said, though, if this does lead to either Will Ospreay or Takeshita staying, or both of them staying in the family, I don't really know if that's what I would have wanted out of Revolution.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about the Undisputed Kingdom?
You're putting me right on the hot seat because all right. First of all, listen. I don't. This is one thing that I don't think I've seen anyone said. What's going on with that theme song? That theme song sucks. I just gotta say
I like it.
Listen,
it's
it gets
not
good.
Bad.
It gets good. But it's the same thing as Baron Corbin's, Constable or like King Corbin's like theme, where it was like the who do you think you like the whole shrilly dude, that is doing nothing but just piercing my ears and just rattling in my brain. You're already looking at a group or a character that's already like, you kind of want them to be immediately liked, basically, because they're already kind of controversial, or the work rate isn't there, or the character development isn't fully there, and just the song alone already makes me want to turn off my TV, purely because it just doesn't match up. Like, Wardlow walking like this, and it's just this, like, all right, that's my first point. Second point, Undisputed Kingdom, we're doing catch-up right now, all right?
Yes.
If you would talk to me a week ago about the Undisputed Kingdom, you would have heard nothing but disappointment, basically. But now we're finally seeing this week the catch-up that Tony Khan should have done before putting these guys together, which is finally establishing individual characters, individual work rates. Matt Taven getting his main event match versus Orange Cassidy. Super random. That's why I'm calling it catch-up. We should have had this match before the Undisputed Kingdom went together. The hype that would have went into this group, if we would have had the Kingdom actually with, a decent match under their belts, it would have been a little bit better. Same thing with Wardlow. He had kind of been losing his character a little bit and not exactly going back to like the Goldberg-esque undefeated character, and instead feeling a little bit more mortal, surrounding himself with mortals. He would have needed to surround himself with people who are legitimate threats. And now AEW, they're finally kind of focusing on making every single person on this group a formidable threat. You got your squash match. You got an incredible match at the end from Matt Taven, showing multiple aspects of his work rate. Again, aspects that we've seen for years from Matt Taven, but the mainstream audience of AEW hadn't been able to see it. Overall, the Undisputed Kingdom, they've gone up for me this last week.
Yeah, like, what was weird about this whole storyline is that they were very much involved with the AEW championship, And then after World's End, they were like, yeah, no,
No, we're good.
we're
Peace out.
going to be going after every title, but not the main title right now, which, okay, fine. But then you announce that you're going to be doing Roddy versus Orange Cassidy at the pay-per-view. You had 6 weeks of story to build.
What happened?
And then now you have OC challenging some rando on Collision. And it's like, what are we doing there? Like, let's stay a little bit focused and let's build this story over 6 weeks. We could be doing promo after promo. We could be doing the Undisputed Kingdom invading OC when he's at the supermarket. Like, we could be doing like so much with this story, but instead we're having OC on Collision, OC on Dynamite. It sucks. It sucks in terms of...
it was...
Yeah.
It was a little weird, right? Him facing Ishii was another AEW-ism. It's a filler match for the sake of, introducing one guy to a main audience or to this American audience, or simply trying to fill time with a good dream match. And we got it. Orange Cassidy won against Ishii, but Matt Taven, though, we didn't need that for the story between the Kingdom and Orange Cassidy. We did need that, though, for Matt Taven, period.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it does help the Undisputed Kingdom, but what are we doing? Having Roddy in a match versus Orange Cassidy. I think we kind of see where it's going, though. We could kind of see that it's going to be Roderick taking away the belt from Orange Cassidy and trying to create a little bit of a belt collector type group. But it's not off to a great start, to say the least. The Undisputed Kingdom, they need some sort of character, and they need it fast.
Yeah, like getting a squash match from Wardlow was such a waste of time. Like, you could have done so much. Like, just have a promo.
At least
something.
He came out alone.
Like, I get it. Like, and then he
needed to come out alone. He looked a little chuckle, a little chuckle fucky.
And then he started flexing, and I'm like, this is such a waste of time.
Yeah. Okay.
Can we get a pro? Can we get some story advancement?
Yeah.
I think we got some towards the end of the show, but it's like, it's so boring to see just like this group that they want to take over. And then it's like, here's why they can take over, because he can squash a local jobber. It's like, man, you're wasting time.
Yeah. No, I would actually love to see Wardlow squash like any sort of legitimate guy, a Darius Martin, literally anyone in the mid card. Just stop throwing him that enhancement talent, because it's not building him up whatsoever. We've literally seen this match dozens of times from Wardlow. It's just a completely different kind of feel, where back over in the WCW days, of course, we had Goldberg facing actual people. There was a clip going around Twitter last week. Me and Dan talked about it off stream. It was the clip between Goldberg and La Parka. And gosh, I mean, anyone in that position, like imagine Wardlow squashing Daniel Garcia. It wouldn't do anything against Daniel Garcia's character. Daniel Garcia could still do his fun little, his little dancey dance. So like, come on, make something out of it. Like, just don't make us feel like we're wasting time with it purely because we got no story progression from it.
Yeah, it's something that we have to watch on in the coming weeks.
We have
to. Speaking about Daniel Garcia, Adam Copeland faced Daniel Garcia. I love what Adam Copeland's doing. A lot of people don't like it because they're like, he's just facing random people. Okay, fine. I get it, but he wants to do that. And I think that if Edge wants to go over to this other company, not be a part-timer, he wants to wrestle on a weekly basis, let him do that, dude. Yeah. Who cares? Put him in a match with Daniel Garcia. Put him in a match with, I can't remember the long hair guy's name, but a couple weeks ago, there was another dude.
Yeah.
So you see him, he's still in the feud with Christian, but he's got the cope open. And I think that this is so much fun for his character. The match ended up ending in a DQ. So this opens up so much possibility for the pay-per-view. We could have Adam Copeland, Daniel Garcia, and Daddy Magic versus Christian and his little family there.
Wow.
That's a possibility for the pay-per-view. But the one thing that I'm really scared about is, are they trying to stretch this all the way until All In? That's what it feels like.
I'm stretching it in the sense of that they want Edge versus Christian. Again,
Yes.
I kind of do get it, and we can do that. I feel like of all the characters, of all the wrestlers, of all the presenters that we have on television, if there's anyone that can kind of fill that time, I feel like it would be Adam Copeland and Christian coming up with a couple different twists from every like 2 to 3 weeks. It's just that you can kind of see how they're doing it. The Cope Open is a way to sort of just like fill time and, you know, be able to ignore Christian in a sense. And, you know, if they are, and it feels like it, if they are kind of filling towards All In, it's not the wrong decision in a sense. It would be nice to see other feuds, but I think at the end of the day, you don't need to have Edge and Christian on TV every single week. As long as we know that the storyline is happening in the background and Adam is still having his matches that he wants, maybe not on a weekly basis, but on a bi-weekly basis, we are still getting Edge on TV. We are still getting Edge versus goddamn Christian at All In. Like, as long as they can pace it right, this could still absolutely work and could last a long time. But this feud, though, I feel like we could already be seeing Edge, Christian versus Daniel Garcia immediately at Revolution. Something would need to happen within the next week. Could easily see that 6-way, though. But like you said, if we see the 6-way, the story is easily going in one way. We are easily getting them going towards All In. If we see Daniel Garcia and those two facing off, again, we're getting a little bit of a muddied storyline there. We don't know if it's not going to end at that point, of course. They could easily continue it, but where does DG actually chime in here? Is he just trying to take the belt off the two and just have it be a grudge match?
Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird because I honestly thought that the the Luchasaurus, aka Kill Switch, turn. I thought that was gonna happen at World's End. You know, there was a whole battle royale.
Yep.
And then the exact same thing happened where Christian was like, no, give me this, give it. And I was like, man, we're getting this again. Like, it was so weird to me. But quick note, I love Justin Roberts. He is such a fun announcer.
Always has been.
I hate when he says rated R superstar. I'm like, just say superstar.
Super.
Like, yeah, that's all you gotta say. He says super 3 times. I'm like, man, it's so cringe.
Yeah, no, you can clearly tell he's trying to do his own thing there, but I think only one extra super is fine. Like superstar. Like I feel like that would even be a little cool, but like, yeah, no, you could clearly tell that almost everyone that announces Edge is either try to do their own thing or try to do the Howard Finkel. So either that or not the Howard Finkel, excuse me. But still, it's kind of a far gone type thing now where it is starting to get a little cringe.
Yeah,
You're right.
But we do have a match official for Revolution. Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, Hangman Adam Page is official for Revolution. I think this has been official for about a week now.
Official, quote unquote. Still, I think it's official, but like I don't think they're happy about it.
Yeah. It's a weird 3-way. Who do you think wins this one?
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I could easily see Samoa Joe picking it back up and just continuing his reign. But I think at the end of the day, I think we're just lining up for Swerve versus Hangman to continue. We got 2 wins from Swerve Strickland over Hangman Adam Page. And Hangman out of nowhere is saying like, oh, but you didn't beat me. It went to a time stop. Blah, 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 blah. It went to a ref stoppage. Brother, he beat you twice. He beat you twice. He deserves to be in the same ring as you. This is not like that. I didn't really get that line from Hangman just because they had one extra match that went to a stoppage. Like, at the end of the day, Swerve is going to stand on business here, and this is going to keep going, I think. I think Samoa Joe... I don't know which guy would be able to take a pin from Samoa Joe, but I don't think Hangman and Swerve, either one of those two, are getting the belts right now. And I say that. I say that. If it's Swerve, I see it. Otherwise, I don't.
Think if Samoa is retaining, he has to pin Adam Page. A lot of people were saying after World's End that Samoa Joe feels like a transitional champion. If that's the case, then Swerve's winning at the pay-per-view. If even you agree, then I think that Swerve wins at the pay-per-view and he takes it all the way till All In, where you have Hangman versus Swerve 3 in some sort of a match.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, you
I
could
think,
tell that they were just trying to get MJF off of TV too. So
yes.
yeah. Yeah, I could see it. I could see it. If Swerve wins,
Yeah.
that's definitely the case. I don't see Hangman winning this one, but people have been clamoring for Swerve to win the championship now for 6 months to a year now. He's finally at that stature. If there's ever a time to kind of pull the trigger, it's either now or right after the Hangman Swerve feud. Which, if that Swerve or if that story continues with a title on the line, this might be an all-time rivalry.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on into the women's division, you have Deonna Purrazzo versus Toni Storm.
Yeah.
It seems to be the match for Revolution.
It
so
will
thank
be.
God we're getting a women's match on Revolution.
Yeah. Period. Because there wasn't a lot going on. Like, we've seen Queen Aminata getting pushed in the last few weeks, but there was nothing getting set up for Revolution.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I love Toni Storm's gimmick. She said that Deonna sucked on her teat of excellence or something like that.
Something along those lines.
I don't know why that made me laugh, but I was like, that's such a funny line to drop.
Yep.
But I love Toni Storm's character. It's crazy to me that all the AEW women's division needed was a character, and all of a sudden she got skyrocketed to the top.
Yeah.
Create more characters if that's the case.
Yeah, more or less. Like, the thing is with AEW is that consistently they are getting people of stature, people who just immediately have respect in the ring and are perceived as a threat in the ring. Toni Storm has always been that. She's always been a pure wrestler. She's always been someone who has been very impressive in the ring. It's just that, we needed something from AEW, period, in terms of that storyline. And not only did they integrate Toni Storm, one of their top talents, into this storyline or into this character, but they also got an international acquisition, like a major acquisition, to stick into this main storyline immediately showing the American wrestling crowd who Mariah May is, what she's all about, that she's actually technical, that she's entertaining on the mic. We have seen only productive things from the women's division in the last month or two now from AEW. Again, nothing like a big step, nothing like a huge step forward, but it's those baby steps towards finally getting that women's division that may be, one of the most prosperous in the wrestling industry. But again, it's going back and forth with a lot of companies right now. You still have WWE putting on a bit of a show here for Mania with a couple of matches. But what could change things is going to be one of our general topics a little bit later, talking about the future of AEW. But let's kind of cap off the show a little bit. Young Bucks, the EVP gimmick. I think we like it.
Yeah, no, I've been like kind of tuning in to their different promos, but definitely a lot of people love the EVP gimmick. I love them in the white suits. I love them, staying in it even this week.
Yep.
They had a match, great match as well, great tag team match. You got to see what they're all about. I actually wouldn't have been too mad if they didn't have a match until Revolution, just to kind of progress that storyline. But do they beat Sting at the pay-per-view? Like, it's so weird because Sting right now, he's undefeated in tag teams, and then all of a sudden your last match, you
lose. I mean, that would be a great legacy to leave Sting, especially beating
him losing?
No, him winning. Excuse me.
Okay.
It would be a great legacy for him to win. Him losing though would just suck. Period. Like they're like, what were we building towards here with this whole division basically with Sting and Darby? But dude, like this version though of the Young Bucks. Like, again, I was fully set on just seeing Sting, getting his farewell, getting a little easy match at Revolution, whatever. Things have changed a little bit. This is a new Young Bucks, something that we haven't seen almost ever from this group. And, if there's ever a time to at least, make the fans hate these guys the way that the fans have been wanting an executive to hate, now's the time.
Yeah.
This is the feud to do it. That's the perfect opportunity to do it.
I honestly think that if you if Sting is okay with losing, very, very easily can the Young Bucks win this match. They just crap all over Sting and just say, you know what, we don't care that you're retiring, and they hold the belts up high and they walk out of a Revolution as champs. Then you can have a little bit of a celebration there. You know, you're gonna have Darby Allin crying. You're gonna have Sting crying. They embrace each other. You know, Sting puts over Darby. That's why I personally wanted Sting versus Darby at the pay-per-view, but apparently Sting didn't want to have a singles match as his last match, which is fine, whatever. But I think that in your final match, you have to put over the younger talent. I think that's what this industry is all about, even if you don't like that idea as a retiring guy.
Yeah, no, and it would be ultimately a great win for Darby. It would lead to a long-term storyline between Darby Allin and the Young Bucks in the future.
Sure.
Whoever Darby Allin gets as a tag team in the far future, he will be going up against Young Bucks again. But yeah, no, we are seeing an actually like a worthy match for Sting's final match.
Yes.
You know, this has been on my mind for the last 3 to 4 months that Sting was going into Revolution with absolutely zero rivalries and zero connection to anyone else on the roster. It was going to be a whatever match. It was going to feature whoever was the more impressive tag team in the division at that time, but it would give them a pretty significant loss. Instead, now, though, we're getting a team in terms of the Young Bucks who can take a loss. That's the important part, who can take a loss and be able to bounce back from it, but also their stature is actually helping out the match in some way. Again, AEW, I don't think, actually had options to be able to do that with this match, and having the Young Bucks finally make this whole character turn in the last month has given that match, that the credence that I think it deserves.
Yeah. I think that there's going to be a whatever result happens at the pay-per-view. Like if Sting ends up winning, I'm going to be sitting back and going, well, of course, like Tony Khan, he loves his his guys. He loves Sting. He loves the veterans. So yeah, like whatever ends up happening at the pay-per-view, I think we're all going to be happy.
Yeah, but the pay-per-view is still about a week and a half away. We have still a couple of big events happening for AEW within the next month. Big business is happening in my backyard of Boston, Massachusetts. TD Garden is going to be the place to be for not only Mercedes Moné, but potentially Kazuchika Okada. So let's talk about it real quick. AEW is taking a massive step forward and getting two of the biggest stars in wrestling who are unsigned. Two biggest stars, period. Not even unsigned. Two biggest stars, period, in the industry. And they may be signing them both within the same night. What are sort of those feelings, though? Did WWE are they losing out by not getting these guys? Are they losing out from the last year in terms of their acquisitions? Or is this just a W in general for AEW and the wrestling industry?
I have to think about how I word this.
Okay. I'm not liking this.
Here's my gripe. Okay.
Yeah.
So Okada would have fit in either company.
Absolutely.
He fits really well in AEW because AEW, Tony Khan looks at his brand new toys and he goes, I'm going to push you to the star. I'm going to push you. You're going to be the best guy ever.
Dream match.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to be, listen, Okada.
And you fight Okada, and you fight Okada, and you fight Okada.
Amazing. I am so happy for that. Would he have fit in WWE? Yes. Yeah. I think if you put Okada in NXT as the NXT champion, that would have been so much fun, in my opinion. You were saying you didn't like him in NXT, and I was like, okay, hold on. We'll wait. I'll wait for my opinion later. I think if you put Okada in NXT like it was rumored, you have him train under Shawn Michaels like he's always wanted to do, reportedly. You shove him as NXT champion. You're like, this guy is the next guy. You have him for 1 year, just learning that WWE style in NXT. You have him facing all of these top guys. You could have even made a case for him versus Braun Breaker, if he ends up winning that championship off of Okada, I mean. So I think he would have fit. But even me saying that, Yeah, I think that Okada fits a little bit better in AEW. I'm really happy for them in that regard. Do you have any closing topic thoughts on Okada before I move to Mercedes?
I can't wait for Okada on Chase U and
Shut up.
being the NXT
Shut up.
North American champion.
No.
I can't wait.
No.
No.
You don't stoop him that low. Don't stoop him that low.
No, it's just the fact that, listen, on paper, as simple as this. If Okada goes to WWE, he should be marketed as the wrestler
NXT champion
on the planet Earth. Incorrect. No, but very simply put, the audience should immediately take him as a top 5 threat, as a top 3 threat, as someone who can take on Roman, who can take on Cody. And if he takes away the title from Ilya, sure.
Yes.
Sure.
That's a crazy match. That's a crazy match.
From Ilya, yeah. But you have to realize that the rest of NXT isn't what it used to be. NXT, simply put, it is still development. It's still people who don't have the character and the storyline draw and just the draw period to be able to match up against a guy like Kazuchika Okada, who is basically looked at as a god by an entire country.
So give him a manager.
So give him a manager. You're right. And he might get Guido, which is going to be fine. But simply put, not NXT. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a little topic here. We are having a challenge. I issue a challenge. Next week, you come next week with the list of WWE's acquisitions. I come with the list of AEW's acquisitions from the last 365 days. We compare. I do not think Kazuchika Okada should be going to somewhere like NXT because nobody's gone to NXT like that. Not for the last 3-4 years has somebody gone to NXT in that sort of fashion. But we'll see next week.
Dragon Lee.
In terms of that comparison. Dragon Lee would be awesome, but you're wrong. Simple as that.
Damn, that's crazy. All right, so I'm not holding back now. Mercedes going to AEW blows, in my opinion. Reason why I believe that.
Wow.
Reason why I believe that. So a lot of, I was initially saying that I think Mercedes is overrated. What I meant by that was I think that her going to AEW is going to be stale eventually. Because if you think about what she did at Christmas, she posted that, all I want is money, the Triple H thing, like she was hinting at Triple H, all I want is money. That's very clear that she wanted to go to WWE. She was in talks with WWE. And the problem there was money. I have a problem with that because around that time, there was no, I think that this leak was intentional, but they said that Charlotte Flair signed a new contract. It's the biggest contract in WWE history. It beats out Roman. It beats out Cody. Fine. But if Mercedes is looking at that and saying, oh, I want that. No. You left the company. You walked out.
Right.
Whatever happened, I don't know what happened. From what I've heard, reportedly, it was a creative decision. It was like she wasn't happy with the creative. They didn't capitalize on her properly. So she left. Fine, you left. But then now you have to go to the indies and prove yourself. Did she prove herself? She went to Japan and had 5 matches.
Yeah.
Great job. So now you want to come back, but you're going to have to take a pay cut. You have to on your first contract back. You can't just walk out of the company, come back and be like, okay, where's my money? No.
She doesn't even have the same star power as she did, when she was in the WWE.
Right.
It's still there, of course.
It's
Mercedes goddamn Monet.
People are so excited for her debut. I was excited for her debuting at the Royal Rumble. But if you're coming in, my main problem with this is that she said the money isn't there, so I'm going somewhere else. Who do you think you are? You're not Charlotte Flair. You're a 4 horsewoman. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you left the company. You have to take some sort of a pay cut. And then on your next contract, let's match with the Charlotte Flair. But for 2 years, let's keep her as Mercedes. But now going over to AEW, great. What is she going to do in AEW? Her versus Toni Storm.
Right.
Okay. Anything else? No. It's going to be her beating Tony
Yeah.
Storm. Then it's going to be Mercedes holding that title for about a year. Then she might lose it. Where does she go next? For the TBS champ? No. She going to be challenging in these other women's feuds? Maybe, but I think that her and AEW gets very stale very fast.
I could see that. I absolutely do see it. With the way that AEW has booked their talent in the past, it's not a given that like a big marquee talent is going to have something beyond just their first storyline. For example, we had Jay White. I really only think Jay White has only had one or two storylines so far in the company. It has carried him so far today. One decision simply with him making a new side of the Bullet Club has carried him to today. We just don't have anything extra for Jay White and a lot of the top guys in this company. Hell, even Will Ospreay to me just got shoved into a match. I'm still not satisfied with the way that Konosuke and Will Ospreay is being set up. But I can't be doom and gloom about it. This is a lot of this situation between Mercedes and WWE and Mercedes and AEW is completely an unknown. We still have no idea from a public's perspective why Mercedes ended up leaving that company. And if Mercedes' reasons are valid, as I would like to assume they are, she's just trying to get as much money as possible from a company that slighted her. And at the end of the day, I can't be against that. If she wants the best for her career, I don't think that's the right mentality, and that's unfortunate. We may be losing at the end of the day with her going to AEW because of that type of decision. But to me, the professional, she's making the right decision for her career. She's still going to maintain star power. She's still going to have a massive opportunity to be able to return to the WWE once her stint with AEW is gone. Still with more or less the same, if not more stature, hopefully not less, but Mercedes is still putting herself in a position to go to WWE some point in the future. It's just that I could not have expected Mercedes to be able to go to WWE. I was shocked when Naomi showed up at the Royal Rumble. Simple as that. Purely because we had just never gotten that situation commented on by either Mercedes or Naomi. The fact that Naomi is back, that opens up the door potentially for Mercedes. Again, I don't know the personal situation there. But at the end of the day, Mercedes, she's treating herself like a top 2, top 3 talent within the company that she would be joining. And if WWE is not paying her right, but AEW somehow is, she can absolutely spend 2 years, a year at AEW and still be able to get that big money back over in WWE and have that big name once again. I don't see anything wrong with Mercedes going to AEW, and I still actually see AEW being able to do something, especially because in the contract that Mercedes reportedly signed with AEW, part of that contract stipulation is that the women's division gets a guaranteed extra match in the card that week, in the Dynamite or the Collision card that week. That in itself, like, Mercedes, say what you want about her as a performer, but as a professional, she is a trailblazer. And in AEW, she may be trailblazing into potentially, like I was saying before, potentially one of the best women's divisions in the country or in the industry. We just need to see how AEW continues to play the market, because there's still people from Stardom. There's still some people from WWE that could be leaving within the next year. There's a lot of war still to be had between the two women's divisions.
Yeah, I think that my biggest gripe in all of this, it was that decision around Christmas time. Like, if you say all you want is money, then the Charlotte Flair things comes out, and then you want, like, this is just me speculating, but I think that she opened up renegotiations with WWE to say, oh, you paid her that amount of money, I want this amount now. And WWE just goes, no. Like, I heard a rumor that CM Punk even took a pay cut because, you leave the company for 10 years, you trash the company for 10 years, you're not going to get the same amount of money as Cody or Roman.
Yeah, again, very fair, but still see Mercedes in a sense now deserving of the money that she got. Yes, it wasn't a big stint over in the Indies, but if she didn't get injured, I would see in comparison to the work rate of WWE, we would be seeing a significantly higher quality of match, quality of performance. The backstage segments would have been something completely different from what we see in WWE, purely because of the way that New Japan works. I think overall we missed out on a big run from Mercedes because of her injury. but I don't think we could put the matches against her. It wasn't, again, immediately incredible. It's not something for her to go up to WWE and be like, hey, I deserve top 1 pay in this company. But let's not take away from the fact that Mercedes is still a star in her own right.
Right. I agree.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, another thing that we agree on, not too many battles back and forth this week. But I think we're done doing too much AEW talk. We can actually move forward with one of our first segments of this program, of this show, and we actually do have one fan question to begin our series. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to join us on this segment here, you guys can send over your questions over on our email, TheWrestleingShow@gmail.com. Again, that's wrestling with an E. It's up there. Or of course, you guys can tag us on Twitter @WrestlingPod. But let's talk about our first question. Yesterday, we finally announced that we were starting this whole venture, and a wrestling connoisseur, but a professional in the Counter-Strike world, a coach for NRG Esports, not a coach, the coach basically for NRG Esports and their Counter-Strike team, Josh Mix, ended up asking us, or specifically you, Daniel, what's your favorite Naito match? So go ahead.
Yeah. I didn't know really who Naito was. I've seen him before, but I didn't really know who he was. I'm gonna be dead honest. But I took that opportunity to say, what was your favorite Naito match? Because if I'm gonna try and be a fan of this guy, I want to watch his best match. And it was Naito versus Kenny Omega G1 Finals in 2017. And honestly, I watched it, and my God, my God. That is as close to an anime battle as you could get in real life. It was so cool. I have one very small gripe about the match, but that's just like me nitpicking. I'm not a huge fan when wrestlers wrestle in the audience's space. Like, you can go into the aisleways and stuff, but when you're telling guys to kind of move out of their seating area, just so that Kenny Omega can do it, jump off the top rope into the crowd.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that.
I think they realized that, though. I don't think New Japan really did that too much ever since.
Yeah, no, they don't really do that anymore from what I've seen, but definitely in that one case, I was like, okay, you're telling these guys, like, the purses are on the floor, their popcorn's on the floor. Move, get out of the way. It's like, man, that's not why I want to come here. And I'm pretty sure Naito, Initially, he launched himself into the crowd, and I think he may have kicked one of the audience members by accident. But it was like his leg just flopped into the audience, and I was like, did he just kick somebody there?
Yeah.
That was my only gripe with the match. Also, the crowd was hot for this match.
Yeah.
But it's weird as, like, being very used to the American drunk crowd, the stupid 1 IQ, brain cell guys. I'm very used to saying, yeah,
let's go.
That's me all the day. All the time.
Of course.
But to see the crowd going, Naito, that was cool. But then, you look at the crowd when they're chanting and they're just, that's also my only gripe. I still have to get used to the crowd. But other than that,
yeah,
five-star match. It was so good.
Yeah, no, I think you'll get enough time to catch up with that, because that is a theme in Japanese wrestling. It's just all about that respect. They treat it a little bit more like a sport, if anything. But yeah, you got to get over it, bud, because they got some bangers, pretty consistently over in the land of the rising sun. But in all reality here, we gotta keep ourselves moving. We gotta at least try to wrap up this show somehow, because we've been here for a quick minute, but we get to kick back a little bit, or at least I do, and I get to kind of leave Daniel here with a little bit of time on his hands as we get to tell a bit of a story. We have some story time. We're gonna try doing this every week. Of course, we're gonna have special guests. We promised a special guest today. We lied. But simply put, we're going to have a story time every week. If you guys want to hear specific experiences, we might put out a poll. We might put out some multiple choices over on our Twitter or over in the YouTube community, asking which stories you guys are going to want to hear that week. But for now, Dan, what do you got for us?
Yeah. So when you say story time, I'm like, what's kind of my big story over this past year. So my wife ended up getting pregnant last December, and as kind of my last hurrah, I really wanted to do a year where we just traveled to as many PLEs as we could. And we did. So we ended up going to the Elimination Chamber in Montreal, which was so much fun. That's a whole other story time there. Then we also went to WrestleMania Night 1 and 2. And we also went to Stand and Deliver, which was crazy fun as well.
Yeah.
We also then went to SummerSlam and Forbidden Door 2. So
how'd you guys go to SummerSlam?
It was in Detroit.
Oh, okay. That's
like
decent.
a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, that's fine.
For us.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So we went to SummerSlam as well. And SummerSlam was a like the level of PLEs before SummerSlam, you can't really top that. So SummerSlam was a little bit of a letdown, but it was still fun. It was still fun to be in the Ford Field. Got to experience that insane stadium.
Yeah.
The whole entire time we were at Ford Field, there was a kid behind us yelling constantly during every match.
Cheering for John Cena or Cody or something?
It was Suplex City, Suplex City, Suplex City. It was.
He was a Brock Lesnar fan.
Yeah, he was a Brock Lesnar fan. He was an Imperium fan. He was Let's Go Jay.
Oh, okay.
But it wasn't like he didn't like ever.
That's pretty based.
Like he never get tired. This was a kid, and he was cheering the whole night. And I had this huge headache by the end of the night. I was so mad. So that kind of ruined my SummerSlam experience a little bit.
Hey, listen. At least you're getting the reason why you didn't want to do this trip after you had the kid. Simple as that. Yeah.
So then to close out our little tour, we went to Edge's. Well, my wife didn't come with me to this one, but we went to Edge's last match in WWE.
Oh, I was gonna do that. I actually had tickets for that.
Yeah, me and my best friend, we went.
Dang.
SmackDown, and that was so much fun.
Yeah, I had floor seats for that too, but I couldn't go.
All right, man. Stop flexing.
I'm not trying to flex. I really like. I'd only been to floor seats once, and that was the one time that I could bring my brother to a show.
Yeah.
And it was an NXT. I think it was the NXT Battleground in Lowell, the one where Carmelo had his kind of his home reunion type deal. But it was at the end of the day, like, if you're getting floor seats, dude, it's got to be something that matters. And I went to WrestleMania. I think it was which one was it? A few times ago, I think WrestleMania 47, whichever one was in Florida. the Tampa WrestleMania. It might have been 38.
Tampa.
But I went there mainly for Edge. I wanted to hear Metalingus in an arena in a stadium, and I felt it. That like Rock pointing at his arms, doing the goosebumps thing. That's me, but pointing at my tears.
Yeah, that's funny. No, it was fun. It was a fun like little tour that we did. At the end of the day, she's a little bit of a wrestling fan now, but it's so funny to say that like my wife's been to more WWE things than she's watched, and normally it's like the other way around. So, yeah, no, she had fun. She was pregnant.
All right, I'm glad she gave it a shot.
Yeah, she and now like she watched the Royal Rumble with us, and she understood who was who. She was like, I wonder if Mercedes debuts tonight, and I was like, oh, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud that you know who that is. No, so she's awesome. But yeah, there's my story time.
There you go. Folks, by the way, we are gonna have like some pictures to maybe help us out in the future.
I was supposed to send you some. My bad.
Production, we have some sort of production value. All right, ignore what's in the corner, right? But like we have something. Okay, so
what is that?
If we have videos or something like that, we'll have something extra in the future. But gosh, I actually think that's it, Dan.
Dude, my voice. I don't know if you could tell. Holy,
you
my
are
voice is
gone. You are.
It's been gone since the end of the WWE talk.
Dan, you were already like a little bit sick yesterday. A little bit sicky wicky, all right? Like
I've had this water. I'm like
I thought I was being annoying pulling out the shaker, pulling out the empty water bottle, but No, yeah, no, Dan, take care of yourself, dude. We have another episode next week. We have 2.
We do. We have 2 episodes next week. I don't care. I'm doing this outro. It's on the script. It says outro Daniel. I'm not tossing this off to Gus.
Oh, God, good luck. Pull a John Cena for us.
If you... Oh, God.
You got
if
this.
you want to find me, I'm on Twitter at TheSaves117. If you want to find Gus, where can they find you, Gus?
It's up at _, right here.
There you go.
Yeah.
And those are both on Twitter as well. Subscribe to the YouTube, subscribe to the, follow on Twitch. Oh, God. Next Saturday at 2:00, we're going to be doing an Elimination Chamber post show.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for that.
I don't think your voice is excited, though.
But then on Sunday, we'll be back here doing the Wrestling Show at 2:00 on Sunday. So thank you guys all for watching. This has been fun. My voice is adjusted to it in the future. See you next time.
See you next time. Love y'all. Thanks for watching.